Coming up next, I'm going to talk to you about taking care of yourself so you can take care of others. And I'll teach you how to handle the no's. We'll take your calls and your chats. It all starts right now. I'm coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you want to do that, and how you can get there. It's all about you. Because you were created to contribute through your work. There's a role that you're supposed to fill. That means you are tremendously valuable, invaluable, but that means you've got to do it. There's a duty for you to show up and be you, even in these uncertain times. In fact, it's more important now than it ever has been that you get clear so that you can get qualified, so that you can get connected, so that you can get started, so that you can get promoted, so you can get the dream job, to give yourself away, to make that contribution, to be who somebody out there needs you to be. And that's why we're here. So excited to have you. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. If you want to submit your questions via the chat window, go ahead and do that now. And the team will get that to me here on the laptop. And we're excited about your questions coming in there. Also, like the show if you're enjoying the program. Subscribe and share. So, good article, a really important reminder from Harvard Business Review. The headline, to take care of others, start by taking care of yourself. What is self-care? So they highlight this idea of starting with self-care. And this is the idea of being aware of the emotional and the physical, and how the mental, the mindset, what you are allowing in your head, what you allow to stay in your head as it relates to focus, can affect your physical health, your emotional health. And we've got to understand that our bodies truly are the most remarkable machine on the planet, and the brain is designed to protect us from certain thoughts. And so when it does that, it creates too much of a chemical, and on and on and on and on and on it goes. I could go on and on, I won't. The idea is, if you have teammates relying on you as leaders, if you have family members relying on you, you've got to take care of yourself. I talked about that on yesterday's program as well. So you've got to start with self-care. So making sure that you are spending time with positive thoughts, whether that be through meditation or just writing down things you're grateful for. Also making sure that you're getting sleep and proper nutrition so that you can take care of others. Ask for help when you need it. I've said this before. I love this thought. I've said many times on this program that the most underrated question in the world, the most underutilized question in the world is, will you help me? Will you help me? People just don't ask that. And we are in a time where everybody is aware of what's going on in your circumstances. It's not a you thing, it's an us thing, and therefore, people are going to be willing to help. Now more than ever. We've always seen the human spirit step up and step in when times of crisis are upon us. Ask others, how are you doing? Don't make it the conversation opener that it has become. Hey, how you doing? No, I mean, look at somebody, or when you're talking to somebody, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay right now? How are you handling this? That's the question that's being recommended. And I absolutely agree. Make sure that you are leaning into others, supporting others, helping others. And finally, look for the positives. Look for the good news. You know, the nature of the broadcast news media and print news media is to always lead with the negative. Why? Get your attention. If you're watching a TV and you hear an anchor or reporter say something that's sensational and scary, you're going to stop and pay attention. At least that is the instinct. If you're scrolling through social media or you're scrolling through a news website, it is the headline that is negative and scary that draws your eyes in. I'm not saying that the media are bad people. I'm telling you that's the way it works. And it all kind of falls under we're reporting the news. We want to make sure you're informed. Well, as I've said many times on this program, and I'll continue to say, certainly during this coronavirus, I have seen more usage of the words may, might, and could attached to massively scary headlines than I've ever seen before. And so you don't have to put your head in the sand, but be careful what you put in your head. And then also put stuff intentionally in your head that is really good news. Make sure you're looking for good news sources. Put some good news in your head. And you will find that that's going to keep you in a very healthy place. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Let's go to Grays Lake, Illinois. Caesar joins us there. Caesar, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm living the dream, Caesar. What's up?
Yeah. Hey, so I have a problem. I guess it's a good problem. My problem is that I have two career choices that that I don't know what to choose over. I'm 22 years old. I've always wanted to become a police officer, but the hiring process has taken 2 years already, and it's probably going to take a lot more with what's going on. But now I have an opportunity to become a contractor for a bread company, and basically run my own business, have my own truck, and deliver bread. So I just wanted to get, an idea of if you think that would be like a good investment, because I would have to take out a loan to buy the route, or should I just wait on the police opportunity?
As of right now, with what you've presented me, I would wait on the police opportunity. You said, I've always wanted to be a police officer, and I can't think of many things that are further away from being a police officer than operating a bread delivery truck.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking that. You get to own your own business. I'll tell you what I don't like is you taking out a loan. So
okay.
I don't want you to take out a loan. I don't think you should take out a loan. Therefore, you're going to have to wait on the bread truck business anyway. How much money do you need to get into the bread business or the bread truck route business?
It would be probably like $160,000.
$160,000?
It would, yeah.
Yikes. Have you run the numbers on that? Like, let's just say year one, I give you $160,000 and you get started. How long does it take for you to earn $160,000?
So starting, I would be making about $140,000. I would get my return probably, with the loan, probably like 10 years maybe. But starting like even with overhead costs and stuff like that, I would probably make like about like $110,000 after I pay for my truck and my loan. No, I do not want you to take out a $160,000 loan to get in the bread delivery service. I cannot think of anything other than you stapling your face to the carpet that I would not want you to do more than that. You know what I mean? Okay. No physical harm is there, and then $160,000 for a bread truck business is right next to physical harm. It's right below it. And the reality is, if you stapled your face to the carpet right now, that would be less damaging than the $160,000 loan. So actually, I'm going to flip that. Okay. Am I making my point, Caesar? Yeah.
Listen. You're 22, man.
Yeah.
I would wait or step through the process, whether it's 2 years or a year and a half. I would stay on course to become a police officer. That's what you've always wanted to do. And you're only 22. 2 years in the grand scheme of things of your life and your normal life expectancy is nothing. Don't get impatient and step into something that seems really shiny that has nothing to do with what you've always longed to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? You will regret that.
Okay.
All right. Why have you always wanted to be a police officer? I want you to tell the audience, so from your heart, why have you always longed to be a police officer?
Ever since I was a little kid, I would see them work, and I know a lot of people think that they they're there to ruin your life, but the officers that I've met, they're actually there to help out people, and I just feel like the people, like the cops that I actually do know, I feel like if I can help out one person, even just by steering them in the right direction, that would really make me a better person myself as well.
There you go.
And yeah, that's. And it's just intriguing. It's something new every day, and I know that I'll never get bored of it. Which is, if you're doing something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and I just feel like that's something that, becoming a police officer would, fulfill that.
Yeah. Well, let me encourage you with something. Number one, that's exactly what you need to do. I wanted you to hear your own heart. But I want to correct something you just said, because it's an old phrase, and I want to encourage you. And Joe knows exactly where I'm going with this. If you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's not true. Joe and I, we love what we do, and we work our butts off. So just want to let you know, you'll work hard, but you'll love working hard, and it's always going to be worth it. So there you go, my man. Caesar, stay the course. Hang in there. Up next, Archie in, oh boy, let me take a guess. Don't tell me, Madison. Archie is with us in Bossier City, Louisiana. Let's see how that goes. Bossier, dadgummit. I thought the Bossier, the French thing, thought that may be what it was. Bossier City, Louisiana. Archie, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
All right. How you doing? This is my first time calling.
Well, I'm glad you're calling, man. How can I help?
All right. Well, I work in the grocery industry, right?
Okay.
I've been with this company 5 years. They got some openings for promotion. The openings are before promotion. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I prepare myself going through the process? Like, I'm looking for resources to read that are different, because I read a lot of John Maxwell books, but I'm looking for different authors who teach on leadership,
Yeah. Well,
I love his books. I'm just looking for,
Oh, so you're looking for book recommendations? I'm your guy. No?
Okay.
What is it?
Yes. Correct. My bad.
Okay, here, let me give you a couple book recommendations, and then if you've got a question for me about how to win this management job or leadership job, I'll tell you. But I'm okay if you just want book recommendations. It's your phone call, Archie. Now, if you want somebody outside of John Maxwell to read on leadership, I got two books, or actually one specific book and a couple of authors that you need to dive into. One, I want you to read Dave Ramsey's book, EntreLeadership, #1 bestseller. It really combines the idea of what does it take to win at being an entrepreneur and also win at being a leader. And it's a wonderful book. And actually, I'm going to give it to you. So when we're done with the phone call, Madison's going to send it to you. How about that? Okay?
Okay.
Now, I also want you to read Pat Lencioni's stuff. Pat Lencioni, Lencioni. He's a good friend, multi-best-selling author. And he writes these parables that have fantastic truth in them. And that'll be really, really good for you across the board, just pretty much everything that he's read. But I would read The Advantage. I would read The Ideal Team Player, even though it's written from the context of an ideal team player. It's really important for leaders to understand when you get in that position, you want to measure your team by how he describes the 3 major attributes of an ideal team player. So that's a good place to start. All right, how can I help you? What else you got?
Okay, so here's my question. When I put it forward, the promotion in, how do I go? It's within the company that I work for. Yeah. So do I just put the information, what I'm good at? I mean, I've seen your resume you had on the site. I'm trying to make sure I do this right.
Yeah, so do exactly the way I tell you, even though it's an internal position. And so you're going to put your relevant experience in there, and it's all relevant because you've been in the company. So don't overthink this. Even though you're internal, do a resume that looks different than everybody else's. It's going to be very impressive, and they're going to see something different with you. But I think the big issue is you need to draw out in the resume, as I lay it out there, for what you bring to the situation, to the company, in this particular position you want. You want to make the case here that your current and past experience within the company sets you up beautifully to lead. What have you been doing for 5 years? Have you been in multiple positions or one?
I've been in multiple positions.
Okay, and what are those positions? Give me the quick rundown.
Okay, so, all right, I stocked floors. I've worked in like every grocery department you could think of, like
perfect,
from dairy to frozen.
Perfect. Now let me tell you. All right, so listen. So you don't need to list it out now that you answered it the way I was hoping you were going to answer it.
Okay.
So here's the deal. You, Archie, have filled every position in that store, which makes you ideal to be a leader because you know what it takes to win in each of those positions. You know what the standard is, and you know what excellence is because you've done it. And you're going to lead a team better than most candidates because you've done all of the positions that you will be leading. That makes you tremendously valuable. Well, Archie, you haven't led before. What makes you believe that you can lead? Well, I'm going to go back to that answer. I know how to lead because I can listen. I'm telling you what to say. I know how to listen for the warning signs when someone's not doing it the right way, or someone feels like they're overwhelmed, or someone feels like they're bored. I know what to look for. I know the type of person that'll win in the position, and I know to look for the warning signs and look for the positives, that I know that person's doing a great job. That's your answer. And that's what makes you uniquely qualified to lead. Make sense?
Yes. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet it. Hey, Archie, I believe in you. Got to walk into that. Now, listen, don't just download my resume guide. Get the how to win the interview guide. Because that's going to prep you so that you're answering questions the right way and asking the right questions. But, Archie, you got this, man. In fact, I've said this on the show before. I had a caller recently call in and say, I want to get into the restaurant management side of things and potentially consulting restaurant owners on leadership things and making sure their leadership is functioning properly. And it was a lady, and she said to me, Ken, what do you think is the best way to go about that? And you know what I told her? Essentially what I just told Archie. Make sure that you go work in every position of a restaurant. Be a hostess, be a waitress, work on the line, the food line, to the extent that you can do some cooking, or at least stand there and just watch how the cooks operate. What do they do beyond just cooking the food? Become an expert to the extent that you can get some experience in every position in the restaurant. That's what's going to make you very valuable as a manager and a leader, and then eventually as a consultant. I don't want to hire a consultant who's never done it. I want a consultant who's waited tables and dealt with rude people and impatient people, who's had some experience on the path. That's what I want. I don't know what you want as a consultant, but I don't want somebody who just has done a bunch of studying. I want somebody who's actually done it. The studying's nice, but studying a topic does not replace experiencing the issue or the topic or the task. It just doesn't. It'll help enlighten you, but experience is everything. 844-747-2577. Folks, we've got a massive announcement coming this week. Do we know when I'm allowed to talk about this, Joe? Oh, Thursday. All right. So this Thursday, big announcement on the show. And also on social media. Best place to do that is Instagram at Ken Coleman on Instagram. And also, if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, do that at kencoleman.com/subscribe. kencoleman.com/subscribe. Let me tell you something. We went from the best employment market in history to one of the worst. And I'm going to be here to help you get hired. There's your hint. How you like that, Joe? Joe hates it when I do the paper snap, and I like to do it just to irritate him. Actually, you don't hate it. I've concocted this entire tension just to entertain people, and it occurs to me, you really don't hate it, right?
No, not really.
Well, tell people why it irritates you a little bit. This is fun.
Drives your mic nuts.
Yeah, makes a noise. There he is, folks. Look at him. He's got the hands. He's like, I've got to talk about this again. Yeah, Joe's a good man. All the weird noises are fun. All right, let's get to the chat room. Nathan writes in, I applied for a training job at a gym before COVID-19 in the month of March. I was going to get it, but it was put on pause. How should I follow up? Also, how do I find freelance work with no connections? All right, first question. So the way I want you to follow up is 3 ways. One, I want you to call and just leave a voicemail I want you to call and try to get them on the phone, and your approach is this. Hey, I know the world has turned upside down since we last talked, and I know we had to put things on pause. Any sense of when you might even be able to consider the unpause button? And if you do unpause, is that position still going to be there? And I get it if you don't know. I'm not here to pressure you. I'm just obviously trying to make some plans and trying to think through what my steps are if this doesn't materialize. I like that approach. It's a nice, classy, healthy way to address the issue. Okay? Same voicemail. Leave that voicemail if you get a voicemail. Then I would send an email, same basic message. and then I do a handwritten note, same basic message. And I would go all three, not to ping or be obnoxious, but just show some initiative, and you're going to be on the top of their mind if they get all of those touch points, and then leave it alone. Don't drive them crazy. Now, second question, how do I find freelance work with no connections? Well, first of all, you do have connections. So I don't have time to unpack the entire chapter called The Web of Connections in the Proximity Principle, but you do have connections. You have way more connections than you realize. Get outside of your friends and family and go to acquaintances. We know from sociology research that that's where most people get their jobs anyway. So who are your acquaintances? People that you've done social things with, but that you don't see every day and you don't do life with, but there's a friendly relationship there. That's that next layer of relationships that you have got to dive into. So that's where you go. Barbershop Chop writes in, if I have 2 YouTube ideas, should I put 100% into one and then begin the other, or should I divide my time evenly? That's a fun question. I would launch YouTube idea 1 and put 100% into it for a short amount of time and just get it out there and really test it. So I really like a 60-day minimum strategy of just creating a lot of content. I know from YouTube experience that your best chance of getting a foothold is daily content. So think of 5 to 7 days of content. And I would give it a full commitment of 60 days, maybe even 90 days of that kind of rhythm and get that out there. And a couple things are going to happen. Number one, you're going to see how much you enjoy idea number 1. How much do you enjoy creating and producing idea number 1? The second thing is there some traction? Those are 2 really key questions for idea number 1. Now, after the 60, 90 days and you've got some conclusions, I'm okay with you throwing out idea number 2, but here's the deal. I think you got to test it on the same level. You know, I think there's an old phrase that if you chase 2 rabbits, you lose them both. And I think this is the thing there. Although you're not relying on this for income, so I'm not going to be as strict about it. But I think if you find that you like idea number 1, you enjoy it, producing it, and it's got some traction, then I would test lightly idea number 2, but I would test it within the audience of idea number 1. That's what I would try. You say, hey, listen, I've got this other thing and I just put this out over there. What do you all think of that? So that way you're not completely dividing your time and the audience. And then it gets down to, we're going to test idea number 2. And then if we think we can do both at the quality level that we need to every day and it's growing, then I say go for both ideas. But I like testing both. I would just put a lot into one and then kind of tell folks, hey, taking a pause here for a second, and I'm going to be over here doing this, going to be back to you shortly. But now if idea 1 blows up, then you go. And idea number 2 is on the shelf until you have the time and the resources to do it. So that's what I would say there. Gerardo writes in, how would one deal with a toxic leader that might affect a promotion opportunity when coming back to that facility? How would I hash things out? High levels of humility and honor. So you need to be humble in your approach, not make it about them, make it about you, but honor them at the same time. Say, hey, this isn't about telling you all the things you're doing wrong or whatever. I'm just experiencing some of this, and I want to make sure that I'm not reading the situation wrong, that I'm not unhealthy. And so there's the humility. Just want to talk through it. I want to win. I'll do whatever it takes to win, and I want to win with you because that's a big deal. So I think humility in how you talk, how you act physically, posture of humility, a tone of humility, and then honor the person. Don't put them on the trial, on the witness stand. Honor them, and it's not about what they've done wrong. It's what you're perceiving, and do they see it that way? And I want to win with you. How do you think we can win? That is a completely different approach, and it's going to give you the best opportunity to actually hash it out and walk through it. 844-747 844-747-2577. We'll get back to the phones momentarily. I want to teach on, I think, one of the most valuable things I have ever learned. And I learned by experience. I didn't sit in a room and concoct this idea. How to handle the no's. Because you're going to hear a lot of no's. In other words, it's how to handle rejection, because a no feels like a personal rejection. And I've talked about how to handle rejection, how to turn rejection into redirection. I've talked about that on the show. But I wanted to go a little bit deeper here on a 4-step process to handle the no's. Because the operating word here is handle. Like, I got to get my hands on these no's and I got to really deal with it. I can't ignore the no's. I've got to handle the no. So here's how you do it. Number one, when you get a no, and by the way, I'm going to tell the audience here, Joe, this is not just professional advice. This is personal in nature. What I'm about to share will help you in relationships as well, whether it be of a romantic version or just a personal relationship in life. Okay, here we go. Number one, you've got to reflect. When you hear a no, you need to spend some time reflecting on the no. Here's what I mean. Why did I get a no? In other words, did the person who gave me the no, did they tell me why? Hopefully they did. Absent of them telling you why the no, you want to do as much introspection as possible to look at the situation and go, what do I think is the reason that I got the no? But you're going to have some evidence, direct or indirect, as to why you got a no. Why'd you get the no? Now, you're going to keep looking at that. Okay? What could I have done better? What could I have done differently? You got to reflect on it. Now, that leads to the second step. You got to correct it. So once I've reflected on what I could have done differently, what I wouldn't have done, what I could have done better, this idea of reflecting on the whole situation. Now you're going to come away with some conclusions. And so now you have to accept that and say, okay, I'm going to make the corrections. If I can make the corrections now, or I realize that when I get in the next situation like this, I'm going to correct that. So that's step 2, correct. First is reflect. Step 2, correct. Now, once I have reflected and I know what I need to correct, and so I'm in a good mindset for the future, and I can deal with maybe some stuff that maybe I have to apologize for and get right, whatever the situation is, I've corrected what I needed to correct. Now, I need to redirect. The idea here is that I'm going to redirect my focus from I reflected on the no, I've corrected the things I need to correct. Now I'm going to redirect my attention to moving forward. I'm moving forward now. I'm not going to wallow in the past. I'm not going to soak in the failure or the rejection. I'm going to move forward. That's the redirect. Redirect your focus, and you will see that you will be able to redirect your action. And so now we're really on the other side of this deal, and we're better for it. And that leads to step 4, connect. Connect. Get back in the game. That's all this is. Hey, I have reflected on the situation. I have learned what I needed to learn from the failure or the rejection, and I have corrected it. And now I've redirected my attention to the future, and that means I've got to connect. Because connections with people are the fuel for your journey. Simple. As I continue to make connections with all of the vital information that I have learned and that I have acted upon, now I've got a new focus, and I need new connections. I need new opportunities, and opportunities always come from what? It's the proximity principle. Opportunities come from being around the right people and in the right places. There's the formula. The right people plus the right places equals opportunity for you. If you get that, the right people plus the right places equals opportunity, people are going to be knocking on your door. People are going to come to you and say, hey, I heard about you, or I've noticed you here, and I've seen you show up and do the little things. I want you on my team. We overthink the break, the breakthrough, the big opportunity. It's not this mystical thing that wafts through the air like the smell of perfume and lands on a few fortunate souls' shoulders. That's not what happens. There is intentionality. So, little extra teaching there. A little how to handle the nose and then use the proximity principle on the end of that. Connection. So, quick review. You got to reflect, you got to correct, you redirect, and then connect. The 4 things you do to handle the no's in your life. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. Quick mention, we just launched a new product, and I couldn't be prouder about it because it is built for the 13 to 19-year-old. It's our Foundations in Career Readiness. It'll help your youngster land their first job and eventually step into their dream job. And it's me teaching. A lot of it from the show itself, the video here on the show. And then we've got a workbook with it. It's fantastic. This is the masterclass for getting in and moving up. And it's built for the 13 to 19-year-old, the youngster in your life. And it'll work for a 21, 22-year-old as well. Go get it right now for $29.99. It's an unbelievable launch price. It's an $89.99 product that eventually that will get to that price. But when we launch it, we want to get it out there. This is a great graduation gift, $29.99. Go to kencoleman.com/store, kencoleman.com/store. All right, let's go to Greenville, South Carolina, where Joe joins us. Joe, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Hope you're doing well today.
Joe, I'm living the dream. What's up?
I just had an advertisement, and that was kind of my question. I have a 15-year-old son, and just kind of wondering if you had any testing, evaluations, curriculum, or anything that could help him choose a career path.
Yeah, well, we are working on the testing and that product to come down the road. We're working on that and developing that now. But this product that I just mentioned, I think is a really great start for him because it is video curriculum. And it's really not even a true curriculum because it's so much easier to engage with. And I'm going to video teach him through the process that you hear me teach on the show every day. And there's exercises. So I'd get it. It's $29.99 right now, kencoleman.com/store. I mean, how about that? I just did the old read and then you called in. But Joe, here's what I would recommend. Don't just get that for him. Watch it with him to the extent that he'll let you. He's 15. I got a 14-year-old, so he may not want that. But I would at least try to engage in conversation with him after he's gone through each of the modules. Because I think what's going to happen there is you're going to be able to supply confirmation and information. Confirmation that some of the things he's revealing about himself and he's becoming aware of, you go, yeah, Mom, your mom and I have known that for a long time. And then when he's doing some of the self-reflection, you're going to be able to give him some things that maybe he's not thinking about if he's struggling with some doubt or insecurity, or just identifying some things about himself because he's young. And so I think that's a really great exercise for you and your wife to do alongside of him to the extent that he's comfortable with it. Did we lose Joe?
Great. No, I'm here.
All right. I thought you may have fallen asleep.
Taking notes.
Yeah. Is there anything specific I can answer for you?
No. I think that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah, because here's the deal. You've heard me on the radio. I'm literally breaking down my entire philosophy and methodology for these youngsters in bite-sized pieces. And I think it's going to be a great tool. I really do. So I tell you what I want you to do. Get the product and then go through it with him. And then as questions arise, call me back and let's address those specific questions.
Okay, sure.
Sound good?
Yes.
Joe, you're a good dad. That's exciting. That's why we created that. By the way, it's in modules. So it's bite-sized pieces, short, sweet, high energy, so these kids will actually watch it. And it occurs to me, Joe, I can kind of be the bad guy. And I mean, not truly. I'm not a bad guy. But you can say, you know what, I want you to watch this, and I want you to listen to what this dude's saying. And kind of put it on me. Like, I know you may not want to watch it. I want you to watch it. I think this guy is spot on, and I think he's really going to challenge you. And they're like, okay. And some of the stuff I'm going to say in there is going to get them to the point of it's me that's making them wrestle with it. And I think that's why I really love this product, parents. It takes the burden of the teaching off of you, and you're kind of the sounding board. And that's what I mean. Make me the bogey, the teacher guy. And, hey, I'll challenge them in this product. I'm telling you, I'm going to make them think about stuff that they've not thought about before. And so I'm happy to be your guy there. That's fun. You know what I mean? Because if they don't, I'm tired of hearing you say this is what Ken said. Dave Ramsey's made a living helping a lot of people by being the person that, the spouse or the family member could say, well, this is what Dave says. This is what Dave says. And they're like, I'm sick and tired of hearing about Dave. Well, that's part of the point. We're okay to be that guy because you can kind of stand on us a little bit and make the point for your loved one. So really, really excited about it. KenColeman.com/store. All right, Joe. I know I got to go. But before I do, I want to let you know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.